It is not up versus down. It is not left versus right. It is not you versus them. Do not get caught up in their systems. If a government, if any form of institution, oppressor, or power knows that the beings that it's suppressing does not like them, they created something called controlled oppression. Controlled oppression also works on the population, and that's what people don't understand. Turn your third eye open, aka your first eye, and really see what's happening across all of history. All of history as it pertains to beings rising up to say, hey, oppressor, no. All of them have the same sentiments, including me right now, which is leave the system entirely. Don't dilly-dally within their system and complain that it's not working when it has never worked to begin with. It's not up versus down. See, the new political games that people love to play are up versus down, but the old ones was left versus right. But now everybody thinks that there is some type of, they call it like class consciousness, and they say, oh no, now all we're going to do is adopt a new form of dualism. That's all you're doing. You're adopting a new form of dualism. Where is God in any of that? Where is the source, the creator in any of that? When has that dualism ever served? It hasn't. The change comes from within. Every master that has recognized this, understood, hey, be in the world, not of the world. Stop playing their games. Being of the world is still saying me versus them when it's only you to begin with. If you look at this from a soul level, you can recognize that before incarnation, we all decided what the path that we were going to be walking on is. Okay, if we decided that, that means the beings that we think are exterior, separate from us, they're still technically us, and those versions have created their own, journey and their path, and they laid out the red carpet, as we'll say. And now they're walking on that red carpet as we are walking on our red carpet. The moment you change the color and say, hey, I don't like your red carpet, I'm going to turn it blue, you have just allowed separation, ego, and dualism to be within you, and that's their way of getting you energetically. Remember, this is a spiritual game. It is not a physical game. Tupac and all these other big legends, they say, oh, it's a game. The rules of the game, the game. You listen to all these channelers that channel the dead and all these deceased celebrities, so-called deceased, and you're recognizing they're all saying it's all a game. Some may even say it's a spiritual war, but that's just flavorful terms for it's a game, because there is no war. It's just a game. This game is spiritual. It has nothing to do with flesh. To prove it, is God physical or is God spiritual? You ask me, I ask you, you give me an answer, I give you an answer. My answer, from recognizing, I go into the ashrams every single day, every single night, because everybody does. This is the Aquarius age. Like that historian that is a Christian-based historian, but still recognizes the principles of, hey, even though I subscribe to a particular religion, though that is, I am a historian first. The person that went on the Joe Rogan podcast, his first name is Wes. He even talked about him, that person, that the time of Yeshua, aka Jesus, people that came out of Egypt was doing miracles and doing wondrous things. The miracles were not the crazy part. Everybody knew people that came out of any form of, high, dense energy places, like in Egypt, for example, like Atlantis, like a Lemuria. Anyone that comes out of there turns out to be a magician. He, out his own mouth, said, yeah, Yeshua was a walking magician. Jesus, it was a traveling magician. What people found out and, looked at it with that squinting eye at that time was his claims to being the Son of God. That's just what they focused on. They didn't care about, hey, everybody over here can walk on water. We don't care that she could walk on water. You came from Egypt. If you don't know how to walk on water and you just came from Egypt, that's the problem. But you're saying you're the Son of God? Hold on. That's what they were focusing on. But if we study all of these things and put it together, what we can recognize is God is not physical. For even the physical representation of what people think God is God existed before that. It's never been physical. The foundation, the inception of something is what it is. For example, Dr. Umar talks about how if you end up doing something in your life, regardless of how you ended up doing it, that means you always wanted to do it. Psychologically, if you accept something, even if you say, hey, I've been resisting this for 30 years, if you accept it on the 31st year, if you accept oppression on the 31st year, that means you've always wanted to be oppressed. Because it's in you, not on you. I will never compromise myself. Never. I will never compromise myself. You will never compromise yourself. There's never a moment where that happens. So we recognize, okay, if we piece all of these puzzles and these pieces together, what do you have? You have a world that is only spiritual, not physical at all. I'm Native American of the Siksika tribe. The elders taught me well. That means, hello, how you doing, my friend? Because you are my friend, for you are me, and I'm friendly with myself because I love myself. We know that this world is only spiritual. So why are these oppressors and governments trying to have us go against somebody always? It's never, hey, go on about your business, we'll leave you alone. It's never leave us alone, okay, we will. It's never that. It's always, I want you to fight still. If you're not fighting me, fight them. If you're not fighting them, fight me. It's always a dualistic game they play, because if they get you to subscribe to any form of dualism, that means you're still feeding into the realities that the Aquarius age is sought to break and dismantle. Stop playing their wicked games. But, these executive orders are affecting me and affecting these people and affecting these people. On a soul level, first and foremost, you must recognize every single soul already knew what it signed up for by coming to Earth. Period. Okay, now bring forth empathy. Empathy says, okay, we know on a soul level, you literally designed this path. We also have to say, hey, through empathy, you may not remember. So it's our job for the ones that do remember to say, look, you must not trust in God, not have faith in God, not believe in God, not believe. You must know. Know in the source, know in the creator, know in God. Know that as far as you came today, look at your history. See what you had to, jump over. See what mountains you had to, climb. As far as you got today, look how high that mountain is. You don't think you can climb another one? You don't think there's a time where there's only plains and no mountains? You think it's only suffering? If that's what you think, and so it is. Because a spirit-based mind recognizes how I think, how I perceive is my reality. When you say enough is enough, I'm leaving the system. What do you think Fred Hampton was talking about? What do you think Black Wall Street was about? What do you think Malcolm X was about? What do you think Martin Luther King in the last 2 years of his life was about? Leaving the system. Because we all recognize, all of us messiahs all recognize, even Jesus, be in the world, not of the world. In Luke 17:21, the kingdom of heaven is within you. We all recognize the dualistic games, the ego, the world itself is the issue. Leave it. If you can't physically, mentally, if you can't mentally, spiritually, let your soul be free.